Saul Wackler, After the Madness. It's a story you'll see only on TV3. I'm Jackie Robinson. Nightcast begins now.
You're watching WSTM TV3 Syracuse. Now, TV3 Action News Nightcast with Don Lark and Jackie Robinson.
Good evening. The big story on Action News, more outrage over the violence on the Onondaga Nation.
The fight sent both Indians and state troopers to the hospital. The head of New York State's police tells Action News tonight that one officer will need surgery on his face. State police say the injured trooper was lying below this man when officers beat him with their batons. Officers say one of the Indians threw a punch at the cop. The Indians say that's a lie. Either way, it's a dispute among Indians that turned very ugly Sunday.
Well, tonight that dispute remains unsettled. The protesters, meanwhile, are trying to keep their fire burning next to I-81. Action News reporter Chris Exaver is standing by live now at the Onondaga Nation. Chris, we understand a lot of people are just getting back from spending about 24 hours in jail at the Public Safety Building in Syracuse.
That's right, Don. A lot of people are just coming back here, and they are still protesting, although most people have ducked out of the rain today. They're over to the side. I understand just one person remains in the PSB tonight. The people who've been out, though, are describing their ordeal to me for about the past 2 hours. It sounds absolutely terrible. An ordeal that they say all started because the state police wanted revenge. Some say this is excessive force.
When an officer supposedly to protect him, to serve a New York State police officer in particular, supposedly one of the elite vanguards of the police forces here in New York State, covers their names and their badges, you know they're in here for illicit or illegal purposes. What other reason is there to do that than to cover their actions that they intended to do in the first place?
The state police paint a very different picture. They say they were just doing their job.
We took the necessary force to effect the arrest. It was due to resistance on the part of these dissident Indians that we had to use that force.
Civil rights advocate Jim Stern says that force should be used to protect New Yorkers, not assault them.
It saddens us to think that they would in any way limit unconstitutionally those rights to be free from, and essentially being assaulted by a guy with a badge and a gun that was paid for by the taxpayers. A badge and a baton, and start beating on people who otherwise should not be assaulted.
Many Onondagas believe the state police came down on them hard as revenge for the Seneca Nation riot near Buffalo a few weeks ago.
They didn't read us our rights. They treated us like dirt on Onondaga land. You know, they started a war.
The scrutiny is even higher on a police officer than perhaps someone who's on his land and somebody shows up on his yard. The police should be better than that. They're trained, and they should be better because they're given extremely lethal tools and the authority to use it.
Now, the Onondagas are not complaining about all police. They are complaining about the state police. In fact, they say the deputies that were here last night treated them fine. They even say, some say, that the deputies virtually protected them from the state police. Don?
Well, Chris, what happens now? They're getting out of jail. Are there still charges pending?
Yeah, there's about 4 charges per person: unlawful assembly, trespassing, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct are the main 4. They're out on bail. The bail ranged from $1,000 to about $25,000. They all go back to court on May 27th, and of course, we'll keep following it.
Meanwhile, on the reservation, the attitude seems to be wait and see.
Yes, it seems to be. There are a lot of people still out here, though, and they say that this is not going to hamper anything. They want to continue to protest. Don?
All right. Chris Exaver reporting live. Thank you, Chris.
An Action News videographer was arrested and then released during Sunday's battle. No charges were filed against TV3 employee Chris Barris. Many say the state police went too far to quiet the protesters, but did the state police go too far when they arrested a journalist? Stefan Mihailu was the reporter with Chris Barris during a confrontation with troopers.
Action News photographer Chris Barris caught the battle on tape, but was soon caught in the action himself.
That's it, my friend. That's it. You're out of here.
While troopers and protesters were battling, Major James Parmley of the New York State Police wanted Barris to stop taking pictures.
Who are you with? Look, you can't do that. I don't want you in here right now. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that?
What? There's Channel 9 right there. Why don't you tell me?
We'll get both of them out of there.
23 people were arrested in the melee with troopers, and Barris himself was ordered to stop filming or be arrested.
I gave you an order not to film. I tell you, it's going to ruin relations with Channel 3.
I have a right to
No, you don't have a right.
Your cameraman was standing there. He was still running this tape because they were chasing him and telling him to shut it off, and that he wasn't supposed to be there. And then they took him and they arrested him.
After photographer Chris Barris was arrested, state troopers took our camera and our videotape of the incident. They only returned them after all protesters were arrested and taken away.
This news organization is prepared to fight it on every level possible. And
Mark Harris is the news director at WSTM TV. He says this is not an issue of the trooper protecting Barris.
the issue is one of a state police commander coming at that photographer and saying, stop filming. It isn't a case at all of interfering with the police. The police did not want this videotaped, and that's wrong.
The incident is getting national attention. The National Press Photographers Association says it makes you wonder if the state police were doing something so wrong that they tried to censor the camera.
Hey, easy with the camera. You're breaking the camera.
I'm not breaking the camera. Here's your lens. Did that break it?
Action News has filed a complaint with the State Police Inspector General's office. Stefan Mihailu, Action News.
The trooper involved, Major James Parmley, will meet with Action News management tomorrow morning. State Police Superintendent James McMahon will not comment about the incident until he investigates the situation himself. Beatings by police have been caught on tape before. The Los Angeles Police Department made worldwide headlines with this attack on Rodney King. It also sparked riots in the streets of LA when this tape hit the air. The Onondaga's fight on Sunday hasn't sparked violence, but TV3 logged well over 100 calls in the past few hours, nearly all of them upset with the state police. Viewers told us they think the state police went too far. One woman says watching the violence brought her to tears.
Meanwhile, there's been another incident where police in riot gear were brought in to quiet a crowd. It happened in Cleveland, Ohio. Protesters upset with a visit from former Ku Klux Klan leader David Duke marched on a city street. After a few minutes, police broke up the crowd. Three people were arrested. Several say they were temporarily blinded by the police pepper spray. Here in central New York, charges are pending tonight in the deadly crash of a runaway tanker truck and 4 passenger cars, one of them a taxi cab. The driver of the cab, 48-year-old Jeffrey Marion of Newfield, was killed. 9 others were injured. The driver of the tanker truck, 33-year-old Scott Goodrich of Ithaca, failed to stop for a red light. There's a possibility his brakes might have failed. Tompkins County Sheriff deputies are investigating. He's not only guilty of attempted rape, but Ithaca police officer Lester Bailey, he's not guilty of attempted rape. Officer Lester Bailey, though, is convicted on 2 counts of sexual abuse involving a 12-year-old girl. The guilty verdict on felony charges means Bailey is now out of a job. He had been on paid suspension since his arrest in December. Bailey's attorney plans to appeal. Jackie?
The Red Cross tonight is providing emergency assistance to the Liverpool family burned out of its mobile home at the Casual Estates in the town of Clay. The man, his wife, and their 4 children got out okay, but the trailer was destroyed. There's no indication yet how the fire started. And all over central New York tonight was a real washout. Drenching rain canceled softball games, the Sky Chiefs match with the Toronto Blue Jays, and many other outside activities. Wayne, will we see more rain tomorrow?
Well, I think we'll see a lot less rain tomorrow than we did today, that's for sure. I think the main thing tomorrow is that it's going to start to turn cooler again, and we will have at least a little bit of sun here and there. Let's take a look at the weather check, and as you can probably tell outside right now here in the backyard weather deck, it's cloudy, and yes, it's raining. 61 degrees. Weather words ahead, cool again. All the details coming up.
Beginning to sound like a broken record there.
Yes, a little bit.
Possessed by demons, police say that's the reason a mother forced her daughter to drink poison.
And the story gets worse. Coming up next on Action News, police also say the mother threw the child's body in the trash.
New shocking evidence in the Oklahoma City bombing trial. Traces of explosives from a bomb detonator found on Timothy McVeigh's clothing. We'll have an update.
And an exclusive interview with a man who many say could have been governor, Saul Walkler, after the madness, only here on TV3.